Hello and thanks for joining us. This summer, two key figures of the contemporary art world, known for their activism and provocations, are taking over one of Paris's biggest art spaces. The Louis Vuitton Foundation is hosting an exhibition from the British artistic duo Gilbert and George. Entitled Two Young Men, the show is a monumental work composed of 6 charcoal panels, a work the duo made in 1971. Pierre Delarue reports.
They've been inseparable for 50 years. Gilbert and George.
There were two young men.
And in 1971, the two British artists were indeed two young men. Lost and forgotten, the artwork was acquired in the early 2000s and is now on display at the Louis Vuitton Foundation's Art Museum here in Paris. Shown to the public for the very first time, the two artists themselves hadn't laid eye on the piece in 48 years.
All of your life. So it's very emotional. It brings all of the feelings back to us. The good things, the bad things, the memories. Extremely emotional.
Because this is really the beginning of our big journey. I mean, we were quite lonely and completely quite innocent when we started out. No? And everybody was telling us, oh, it's quite interesting, but it will never last. And it did last.
Gilbert and George first started their artistic collaboration in 1969, fresh out of art school. They started as performance artists and went on to creating images of all kinds, thousands of photographies and videos. Bend, just a little, take it easy.
But we made ourselves the living sculpture, and I think that was important. The 3D idea of us, that we didn't have to create anything. We were the real living sculptors that can speak, that have emotions, that suffer pain, everything. It's not a marble sculpture, it's not a bronze sculpture, it's a human sculpture.
Forever entertainers, the duo seizes every opportunity to improvise a performance.
The Carlton they can keep. There's only one place that I know, and that is where I sleep. Underneath the arches, I dream my dreams away.
At times provocative, the art of Gilbert and George is first and foremost engaged. Violence, religion, sexuality are some of the recurrent themes in their work. A liberated artistic voice, never censored, always free.
I think that we all should just think more about how we can elaborate ourselves.
Free ourselves from religion, I think, is the most important thing.
To get out of bed in the morning and know that you are yourself. And what do you want to say to the world today? Reading rarely.
Together, Gilbert and George continue their journey to speak the world in their own language. One of poetry and art.
Dying very slowly.
Laughing nervously.
Greeting politely and waiting till the day breaks.
Next, it's like Tinder, but for the arts and with benefits. France's new Culture Pass fulfills a campaign promise by President Emmanuel Macron to improve youth access to a broad range of cultural events, activities and goods. The app was beta tested last year and rolled out nationally this spring and has seduced thousands of young people around the country. Pierre Delarue reports.
You can see your favorite band live, catch the latest musical sensation, or visit some of the world's most renowned museums without having to pay a cent. That's the idea behind the Culture Pass, launched by the French government. A €500 credit for 18-year-olds to spend on cultural events. Tristan is an avid user of the app. He uses it to discover nearby cultural venues.
It's allowed me to experience more culture. I bought a lot of books and also got a movie pass. Now, when a film that I'm interested comes out, I just head to the cinema for an evening screening.
Thanks to the Culture Pass, the 18-year-old has become a regular at this local bookstore. Today, he's got his eye on a graphic novel, an adaptation of Anne Frank's diary. After just a tap on his phone, the book is his to take home.
We've seen young readers who continue to come even after they've used up all their credit and have become regular and faithful customers.
The Culture Pass amounts to 10% of the bookstore sales. Books are by far the pass users' most important purchases, representing 42%, followed by concert and festivals with 17% and online music 10%. But the initiative has also shown a few limits. At the Strasbourg National Theatre, most users were already theatregoers, and the Culture Pass has failed to bring in new audiences.
We're seeing mostly young people who stick to their comfort zones. If you like the theatre, it allows them to see more shows. And it's great. They come more often. But the idea was also to facilitate access and create an interest for people who don't usually come to see a play.
In an effort to seduce a broader audience, the Culture Pass development team has been hard at work, trying to improve the app and offer its young users targeted cultural offers.
If you liked Game of Thrones, you might like Shakespeare. So we try to find that connection based on the user's love of an artist or an art form to help widen his or her preferences, but it has to be done subtly.
Creating a new link between pop culture and classic references so that the Culture Pass can be more than just a gift card.
Despite an ongoing European heatwave, fall 2019 Haute Couture is hitting the runways in Paris this week. Let's have a look at some of the highlights. Dior went back to the essential architecture of dressmaking and the late designer's penchant for black. At the show were actresses Gal Gadot, Shailene Woodley, Elizabeth Moss and couple Priyanka Chopra and Nick Jonas.
The clothes are obviously so feminine and make a woman look very womanly, but at the same time there's a power and a strength in so many of the looks.
I don't know that I've ever seen anyone be so creative with the color black before and also evoke so much feeling. I'm truly at a loss for words. That was everything I want to wear every day for the rest of my life.
Gems, rainbow feathers and sparkling details illuminated the runway in Giorgio Armani's collection. The Italian designer's show featured intricate feminine looks in shades of pastel in the Petit Palais exhibition hall in Paris. And Karl Lagerfeld may be no more, but his spirit lived on at the Chanel show. It was Virginie Viard's first haute couture collection since taking over at Chanel in February. It was set in a huge library inside Paris's Grand Palais, a nod to Lagerfeld, who's said to have owned more than 350,000 books. Take a look. Festival season is getting underway in France. The Arles Photography Festival is on in the south of the country. The largest photography gathering in the world is celebrating its 50th anniversary with 50 exhibitions. Our Clovis Casali is there for us.
Every summer, the town of Arles in the south of France becomes more vibrant than ever, with tens of thousands of people coming here for one and only reason, their love of photography. Les Rencontres d'Arles is the largest photography festival in the world, and this year it's the 50th edition. A very special and symbolic anniversary for this event that's proving always more popular. The number of visitors has doubled over the past decade. All trends, styles and artistic approaches are represented here. In a way, this is to photography what Cannes is to cinema. We met with the director of Les Rencontres d'Arles and he told us what to watch out for.
50 years, 50 exhibitions, that's 15 more than usual. A way of looking to the past with a certain number of projects, revisiting the 70s and 80s, such as Movida, the Spanish photography movement. But the DNA of Arles is also to look into the future, to explore the 50 years ahead, to discover future talents.
With such an eclectic selection, it's hard to choose from. This year, organisers tried to quell past criticism on gender imbalance, so more than a quarter of the exhibition celebrate the works of women photographers. A newly created prize was awarded to Susan Mazalis, one of the few women member of the prestigious Magnum Agency since 1976. She's a star in the world of photojournalism who's inspired many here in Arles. Another artist is Evangelia Kraniotti from Greece. She explores themes such as loneliness and the feeling of being an outsider. She met with the LGBT community in Brazil and embarked at sea with sailors. She's our guest on our show Encore that will be aired on July 23rd. And of course, you can watch it on France24.com.
Just before we go, thousands of visitors are flocking to the Avignon Theatre Festival, which gets underway in the south of France this week. The nearly 3-week celebration of theatre takes over the entire town, with performances on the streets and in every other available space to bring both new and unknown art to the masses. We're going to leave you with a taster. Remember our website, we're also on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.